The observatory stood like a silent sentinel against the starlit sky, its dome reflecting the soft glow of the moon. Inside, Dr. Cassandra Reed hunched over her computer terminal, her dark eyes fixed on the stream of data flowing across the screen. The signal had appeared 3 nights ago, a pattern unlike anything she'd ever encountered in her 15 years of searching the stars. "This can't be right," she muttered, pushing her glasses up her nose as she cross-referenced the frequency patterns. The signal didn't match any known astronomical phenomena, and its regularity suggested intelligence rather than random cosmic noise. The quiet hum of equipment filled the room as Cassandra worked through the night, analyzing and reanalyzing the data. She'd dreamed of this moment since she was a child staring up at the stars from her grandfather's farm, the possibility of finding evidence of life beyond Earth. But now that it was potentially happening, she felt more afraid than excited. A soft chime from her computer drew her attention. The signal was changing, becoming stronger and more focused. Numbers scrolled across her screen faster than she could process them, and then suddenly, everything went dark. The observatory's backup generators kicked in with a low whine, bathing the room in dim emergency lighting. "Hello, Cassandra Reed." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere at once, gentle but unmistakably alien. Cassandra spun around, her heart pounding against her ribs. In the doorway stood a figure that defied explanation. It appeared feminine but was clearly not human, tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to shimmer like mother-of-pearl under the emergency lights. "I am Nyara," the being said, its voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. "I've traveled far to find someone like you." Cassandra's scientific training warred with her instinct to run. "Like me?" she managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. Nyara moved into the room with fluid grace, each step silent against the floor. "Someone who looks to the stars not with fear, but with hope. Someone who seeks understanding rather than conquest." "How do you know about me?" Cassandra found herself backing away until she hit her desk. "We have been watching your broadcasts, your signals sent into space. Most seek power or resources, but you." Nyara paused, tilting her head in a curiously human gesture. "You seek knowledge for its own sake." The alien's presence seemed to fill the room, not just physically but mentally. Cassandra felt a gentle pressure at the edges of her consciousness, like waves lapping at a shore. "What do you want from me?" "To share understanding," Nyara replied, extending a hand that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. "My people are dying, Cassandra. We have mastered space travel, but we've lost something essential along the way, the ability to feel, to connect, to grow. In all our searching, humans are the only species we've found that might help us remember." Cassandra's scientific curiosity began to overcome her fear. "Help you remember what?" "What it means to be alive." Nyara's eyes, iridescent and depthless, met Cassandra's. "We need more than just biological data or behavioral studies. We need to understand the essence of human emotion, human connection. And for that, we need someone willing to share their experiences with us completely." The implications of Nyara's words slowly sank in. "You want to study me? My emotions? Not study. Experience. Share." Nyara moved closer, her presence bringing with it a sense of ancient knowledge and desperate need. "But it must be voluntary, and it must be you. Your mind, your pattern of thinking, it's compatible with our consciousness in a way we've never seen before." Cassandra's mind raced with questions, possibilities, and fears. Everything she'd worked for, everything she'd believed in about life beyond Earth was standing before her, but not in any way she'd imagined. What exactly would this sharing involve? "A connection," Nyara explained, her voice softening. "A bridge between our minds, our experiences. It would be temporary at first, but if successful, it could save my entire species from fading into empty shells of logic and calculation." The weight of the moment pressed down on Cassandra. This wasn't just about scientific discovery anymore, it was about the survival of an entire civilization. But could she trust this being? Should she? Why should I believe you? Cassandra asked, her voice stronger now. This could be a trick, an invasion. Nyara's form shimmed slightly, and suddenly Cassandra felt a wave of emotion wash over her, loneliness, hope, and a deep, aching sincerity that couldn't be faked. Because you already know the truth in your heart, Cassandra Reed. You've spent your life searching the stars for proof that humanity isn't alone. Now you have to decide if you're ready for what that really means. The observatory fell silent except for the quiet hum of equipment. Outside, the stars continued their eternal dance across the sky, witnesses to a moment that could change everything. Cassandra looked at her computer screens, still displaying the strange signal that had led to this encounter, then back at the alien being who offered both opportunity and uncertainty. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. Tell me more about this connection. The gentle hum of the observatory's equipment faded into the background as Cassandra watched Nyara move around the room, the alien's ethereal form casting subtle patterns of light against the walls. Each movement was precise, deliberate, yet held a grace that seemed almost dancer-like. The connection you speak of, Cassandra began, her scientific mind already forming questions. How does it work? What are the risks? Nyara turned to face her, those otherworldly eyes seeming to peer into her very essence. It begins with resonance, she explained, raising a hand that glowed with a soft, pulsing light. Our consciousness can align with yours, creating a bridge between our minds. Through this bridge, we share not just thoughts, but experiences, emotions, memories. Cassandra watched, fascinated, as patterns of light began to flow across Nyara's skin like liquid starlight. And the risks? The process can be intense, Nyara admitted. Your mind will experience sensations it was never designed to process. Some humans might find it overwhelming. She paused, her expression growing serious. But you're different. Your neural patterns show an adaptability we've rarely seen. The scientist in Cassandra wanted to ask about measurement methods, about data collection and analysis protocols. But another part of her, the part that had always dreamed of this moment, understood that she was facing something beyond conventional science. Show me, Cassandra said quietly. Something small, just so I can understand. Nyara moved closer, her presence bringing with it a subtle charge in the air. Give me your hand. Cassandra hesitated for just a moment before extending her hand. Nyara's fingers, warm and surprisingly solid, intertwined with hers. The moment they touched, the world shifted. Colors exploded behind Cassandra's eyes, colors she had no names for, colors that existed beyond human perception. She felt herself falling into memories that weren't her own, the view of a binary star system from a crystalline observation deck, the sensation of traveling through subspace, the weight of centuries of knowledge pressing against her consciousness. Breathe, Nyara's voice guided her, seeming to come from both outside and inside her mind. Don't fight it. Let the sensations flow through you. Gradually, the overwhelming cascade of alien experiences began to sort itself into comprehensible patterns. Cassandra could feel Nyara's presence in her mind, gentle but immense, like an ocean containing countless drops of memory and emotion. This is incredible, Cassandra gasped. Through their connected hands, she could sense Nyara's own wonder at experiencing human consciousness for the first time, the vivid immediacy of human emotions, the chaotic beauty of human thoughts. And this is merely the surface, Nyara said softly. A full connection would be far deeper, far more complete. We would share everything, every joy, every fear, every hope and dream. The connection faded as Nyara released her hand, leaving Cassandra feeling strangely empty. The observatory seemed dimmer somehow, more confined than before. Your species, Cassandra said, still processing what she'd experienced, you said they're dying. But I felt such power in those memories, such knowledge. How can beings capable of such wonders be in danger? Nyara's expression shifted to something that might have been sadness. We evolved beyond our emotions, beyond the need for connection. We thought it made us stronger, more efficient. Instead, it left us hollow. Our children are born without the capacity to feel, to truly experience life. We're becoming living machines, processing information but understanding nothing of its meaning. And you think human emotions could help reverse this? Not just emotions, Nyara corrected. Human capacity for growth, for change, for finding meaning in the seemingly meaningless. These are qualities our species has lost. Through the full connection, we hope to understand how to reclaim them. Cassandra walked to the observatory's window, looking out at the star-filled sky. Everything she thought she knew about the universe was changing, expanding with each moment. What happens if I agree? What would it mean for me? You would experience everything I am, Nyara said, moving to stand beside her. Every memory, every piece of knowledge my species has gathered across millennia. It would change you, Cassandra. No human has ever contained such knowledge before. Would I still be, me? You would be more than you are now, Nyara replied. But your essence, your core self, that would remain unchanged. We don't seek to overwrite, only to share, to learn, to grow together. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if responding to the weight of the moment. Cassandra thought of her years of research, of countless nights spent searching the skies for signs of life beyond Earth. Now that life stood beside her, offering not just contact but communion. I need time, she said finally. To think, to process all of this. Of course, Nyara agreed. But remember, time moves differently for my kind. Every moment we delay is another moment my species slides further into emotional void. Choose quickly, Cassandra read, but choose wisely. As if to emphasize her words, the patterns of light across Nyara's skin pulsed once, brightly, before settling back into their gentle flow. Outside, the first hints of dawn began to color the horizon, marking the beginning of a day unlike any in human history. Dawn painted the sky in shades of purple and gold as Cassandra worked frantically at her computer, analyzing the data from her brief mental connection with Nyara. The alien stood by the window, her form seeming to shift between solid and ethereal in the growing light. These readings are impossible, Cassandra muttered, running another analysis. The energy signatures during our contact, they're unlike anything in our scientific records. Your instruments are inadequate to measure what passes between us, Nyara said softly. Some things exist beyond your current understanding of physics. Cassandra turned to face her visitor, questions burning in her mind. During our connection, I saw something you didn't mention before. A darkness at the edges of your memories. What are you hiding from me? Nyara's form flickered slightly, the patterns on her skin becoming more erratic. You are perceptive. Most humans would not have noticed. She moved away from the window, her movements less fluid than before. There are aspects of the connection I haven't fully explained. Tell me now, Cassandra demanded, her voice firm. If you want my trust, I need the whole truth. The void we feel, the emptiness consuming my species, it isn't natural. Nyara's voice carried a weight Cassandra hadn't heard before. It was engineered, a side effect of an ancient attempt to transcend our physical forms. The observatory's computers hummed in the background as Cassandra processed this revelation. Engineered? By whom? By ourselves. Generations ago, my people sought to become pure energy, beings of thought and logic untethered by physical form or emotional bonds. Nyara's form shimmered with what might have been regret. We succeeded, partially. But the cost? The loss of emotion, of connection, Cassandra finished, beginning to understand. Yes, but it's worse than that. The void doesn't just empty us, it spreads. Each generation is born more hollow than the last, and the effect is accelerating. Nyara moved closer, her presence bringing that now familiar pressure at the edges of Cassandra's consciousness. We're not just losing our ability to feel, we're losing our ability to exist as conscious beings. Cassandra felt a chill run down her spine. And what does that have to do with humans? With me? Your species represents something unique in the galaxy, beings who have evolved to balance emotion and intellect naturally. Your consciousness exists in a state we've been trying to artificially achieve for millennia. Nyara's eyes seemed to glow more intensely. But there's more. The human mind contains something we call the spark, a quality that allows you to create new neural pathways, to adapt and grow in ways we no longer can. And you think this spark could save your people? We know it can. But the process of extracting and understanding it. Nyara hesitated. It requires more than just a surface connection. We need to merge completely with a compatible human consciousness, to experience the spark in its totality. The implications hit Cassandra like a physical blow. You're not just talking about sharing experiences. You're talking about completely integrating our minds. Yes. Nyara's admission hung in the air between them. The process would be irreversible. You would retain your individuality, but you would also become something more, a bridge between our species, carrying both human spark and our ancestral knowledge. Cassandra stood, pacing the room as her mind raced. And what happens to me in this process? What aren't you telling me about the risks? Nyara was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was heavy with truth. There is a chance, a small one, that your consciousness could be overwhelmed by the vast knowledge we carry. You would survive physically, but your original self might be altered. Altered how? We don't know. The few humans we've attempted this with before. Nyara's form flickered again. Their minds couldn't handle the integration. They lost themselves in our memories, became something neither human nor like us. The weight of this revelation pressed down on Cassandra. How many, she asked, her voice barely a whisper. How many humans have you tried this with? 3. All volunteers, all carefully chosen. All failed. Nyara moved closer, her presence both comforting and terrifying. But you're different, Cassandra. Your mind, your patterns of thought, they're more compatible than any we've seen before. The probability of successful integration is higher. But not certain, Cassandra stated flatly. Nothing is certain. But without this, my entire species will fade into nothingness within a few generations. Billions of minds, countless years of knowledge and discovery, all lost to the void we created. Cassandra walked back to her computer, staring at the readings from their brief connection. The data showed patterns she'd never seen before, energy signatures that defied known physics. But behind the scientific mystery lay a moral question that seemed to have no clear answer. Why didn't you tell me this from the beginning? She asked finally. Would you have listened? Would you have believed? Nyara's form seemed to pulse with emotion. We needed you to experience the connection first, to understand what's at stake. The choice must still be yours, Cassandra Reed, but now you can make it with full knowledge of what it means. Outside, the sun had fully risen, casting long shadows across the observatory floor. Somewhere in the distance, a bird called out to greet the morning, a simple sound that suddenly seemed precious in its ordinariness. Cassandra thought of everything she'd learned, everything she'd felt in that brief mental touch with Nyara. The possibility of saving an entire civilization balanced against the risk of losing herself completely. I need to show you something else, Nyara said quietly. Something that might help you understand the true scope of what we face. Nyara's form shimmered and expanded, filling the observatory with a soft, otherworldly light. The air itself seemed to vibrate with potential energy as she reached out her hand toward Cassandra. Let me show you our world as it truly is, Nyara said, her voice resonating with multiple harmonics. Not just memories this time, but the present reality. Cassandra hesitated only briefly before taking the offered hand. The connection formed instantly, far stronger than their previous link. The observatory dissolved around them, replaced by a vast crystalline city beneath twin purple suns. But something was wrong. The beautiful structures were dimmed, their once bright surfaces clouded with darkness. "This is happening now?" Cassandra asked, her consciousness stretched between Earth and this distant world. "Yes," Nyara confirmed. "Watch." Figures moved through the city streets, tall and graceful like Nyara, but different. Their movements were mechanical, their forms barely luminescent. But most disturbing were their eyes, flat, empty, devoid of any spark of awareness or emotion. "The latest generation," Nyara explained, her grief palpable through their connection. "They're born this way now, barely conscious, barely alive. The void grows stronger with each passing cycle." The scene shifted, showing what appeared to be a nursery. Infant forms lay in crystalline cradles, but they didn't move, didn't cry. They simply existed, their tiny bodies already showing signs of the emptiness that plagued their species. "Stop," Cassandra whispered, overwhelmed by the horror of it. "I understand." The vision faded, returning them to the observatory. But the connection remained, allowing Cassandra to feel the full weight of Nyara's desperation and hope. "Now you see why we searched the galaxy for a solution," Nyara said softly. "Why we need you." Cassandra pulled away, breaking the connection. Her mind reeled from what she'd witnessed. Those children, they're not just emotionless, they're barely conscious at all. The void consumes more with each generation. Soon, there will be nothing left but empty shells, processing information without understanding, existing without living. Nyara's form flickered with distress. "But there's something else you need to know before you decide." Cassandra steadied herself against her desk. "What more could there be?" "The integration, if it succeeds, it won't just save my species. It will change yours as well." Nyara moved closer, her presence bringing that now familiar pressure at the edges of Cassandra's consciousness. "The bridge between our minds would allow humans to access our knowledge, our technology. Your species would advance centuries in a matter of years." "And if it fails?" Cassandra asked, though she feared she already knew the answer. "If the integration fails catastrophically, the backlash could tear open a permanent breach between our consciousness and yours. The void that afflicts us could begin to affect humanity." Nyara's form dimmed slightly. "It's a small risk, but it exists." Cassandra walked to the window, watching the morning sun climb higher in the sky. Everything she'd worked for, everything she'd believed about her place in the universe, had led to this moment. The weight of two civilizations' futures pressed down on her. "How long do I have to decide?" "The alignment that allows for full integration will only last for another few hours," Nyara replied. "After that, the opportunity will be lost for another century. By then, it will be too late for my people." Cassandra turned back to face the alien being who had upended her world in a single night. "And if I say no? What happens then?" "Then we continue searching. But understand, you are the most compatible mind we've found in over 1,000 years of looking. The chances of finding another in time." Nyara let the implication hang in the air. The observatory's computers continued their quiet hum, monitoring the stars as they had every night before this one. But now those stars held new meaning, new weight. Somewhere out there, an entire civilization teetered on the brink of oblivion, waiting for her decision. "I need to try something first," Cassandra said finally. "One more connection, but on my terms. I need to understand exactly what I'd be agreeing to." Nyara nodded. "What do you propose?" "Show me the integration process itself. Not the actual procedure, but a memory of it. I need to see what happened to the others who tried this." Cassandra's voice was firm despite her inner trembling. "I need to understand why they failed. That memory, it carries great pain, Nyara warned. But if you insist, I will share it. She extended her hand once more, the patterns on her skin pulsing with a new intensity. Cassandra took it without hesitation this time, bracing herself for what she was about to witness. The connection formed, and with it came a flood of memories that would either strengthen her resolve or shatter it completely. The memories crashed over Cassandra like a tidal wave. She saw them all, the 3 humans who had tried before her. A physicist from Russia, a philosopher from India, a neuroscientist from Brazil. Each had approached the integration with courage and hope. Each had failed differently, but failed completely. The physicist's mind had fractured, unable to process the vast scope of alien knowledge. The philosopher had become lost in the collective memories of Nyara's species, his own identity dissolving like salt in an endless ocean. The neuroscientist had simply gone catatonic, her consciousness retreating so deeply into itself that it could never be reached again. But in each attempt, Cassandra saw something the others had missed. A pattern, a possibility, a path through the chaos. I understand now, she gasped as the connection broke. They all tried to absorb everything at once. They tried to become like your species immediately, instead of creating a true bridge between our ways of thinking. Nyara's form brightened slightly. You see something different? Yes. Cassandra moved to her computer, fingers flying over the keyboard. Look at these brainwave patterns from our earlier connections. The resonance isn't just about compatibility, it's about harmony. A dance between 2 different ways of being. She pulled up the data from their first touch, then their deeper connection. Each time we connected, my mind adapted a little more, learned how to process your consciousness without being overwhelmed. The others, they never had that chance. They went straight to full integration. What are you suggesting? Nyara asked, moving closer to study the readings. We do this gradually. Build the bridge piece by piece, letting both our minds adjust. Cassandra turned to face the alien being. You said we have a few hours before the alignment ends. Let's use them. Nyara's form pulsed with what might have been hope. It's never been attempted this way. The energy required to maintain multiple partial integrations will be less than what's needed for one catastrophic failure, Cassandra finished. Trust me. Trust this spark you say humans have. For a long moment, Nyara was silent, her ethereal form shifting with complex patterns of light. Finally, she spoke. To attempt this would place you at even greater risk. If any stage of the integration fails, the damage to your mind could be severe. Cassandra stood, facing her alien visitor with determination. I've spent my entire life looking up at the stars, wondering if we were alone in the universe. Now I know we're not, and I have a chance to build a bridge between our species. Some risks are worth taking. The sun had risen fully now, its light streaming through the observatory's windows and creating strange refractions through Nyara's translucent form. The alien's eyes, those deep pools of ancient knowledge, studied Cassandra with new intensity. Very well, Nyara said finally. We will try your way. But first, you must understand what success would mean. The bridge between our minds would be permanent. You would carry within you the knowledge of ages, the memories of an entire civilization. You would be neither fully human nor fully like us, but something new. Are you prepared for that? Cassandra thought of her life until now, the lonely nights at the observatory, the endless search for signals from the stars, the deep conviction that humanity's destiny lay beyond Earth. Yes, she said simply. I'm ready. They began slowly, carefully. Each connection lasted longer than the last, each integration reaching deeper. Cassandra's mind learned to navigate the vast ocean of alien consciousness, while Nyara's presence learned to resonate with human emotion without overwhelming it. Hours passed like minutes as they worked. The observatory's instruments recorded unprecedented energy patterns as two fundamentally different forms of consciousness learned to coexist, to harmonize, to merge without losing their essential natures. Finally, as the alignment reached its peak, Cassandra felt it, the moment of truth. Her consciousness expanded beyond anything human experience had prepared her for, yet she remained anchored in her own identity. Through her, Nyara's species would remember how to feel, how to grow, how to live fully again. Through them, humanity would gain knowledge that would transform their understanding of the universe. "It's happening," she whispered, her voice carrying harmonics that hadn't existed before. "I can feel them all, your people, their memories, their hopes." "Yes," Nyara's voice resonated with joy and wonder. "And through you, they begin to remember." The void recedes. The spark spreads. The sunrise painted the sky in colors that seemed richer than before, as if Cassandra's enhanced consciousness perceived layers of reality that had always existed just beyond human awareness. She was still herself, still Dr. Cassandra Reed, but she was also something more, a bridge between worlds, a key to unlocking humanity's next great adventure. "What happens now?" she asked, though she could already sense the answer through their shared consciousness. "Now," Nyara said, her form beginning to merge more fully with Cassandra's awareness, "we show both our peoples what it truly means to reach for the stars. Together." As the morning light filled the observatory, two beings who had begun as strangers completed their transformation into something unprecedented in the history of either species. And somewhere, in the vast depths of space, countless minds began to remember what it meant to feel wonder, to experience joy, to live fully in the miracle of existence. The bridge was built. The void would trouble them no more. And for both humanity and Nyara's people, a new chapter was about to begin.